Assalamu alaikum listeners, welcome to the show SpinOff. This is your RJ Faisal Ilyas. And on SpinOff, we cover ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024. In this World Cup, the four teams for the semi-finals have been qualified. So it's India, Afghanistan, South Africa and England who are going to play the semi-finals. And favorite teams like Australia is already out of the tournament, and hosts West Indies and USA are also out of the tournament, and Bangladesh is obviously also, they lost to Afghanistan and they are also out, and they will be way back to their home. And the great teams India, South Africa, who have been unbeaten in this tournament so far, are through and they are going to play the semi-finals. And last T20 World Cup semi-finalists India and England will be up to play the semi-finals tomorrow, and Afghanistan and South Africa will be up for the semi-final as well. Two outstanding games to be played tomorrow. In today's show, what we'll do is we'll see as to how these teams have played so far in the tournament and how they have qualified for the semi-finals. We'll also have a look at the top batters and top bowlers from the tournament in today's show. We'll also have some news from the captain who has come back to the country. Babar Azam has landed in Lahore. He's supposed to meet with the PCB chairman and obviously other people in the PCB. So we'll talk about that as well. And the fitness camp has already started in Karachi, where so many players, young and old players, especially Shan Masood, Sarfaraz Ahmed, they have also joined the camp. So they are all preparing for the test series that we have to play against Bangladesh. So in World Cup, T20 World Cup 2024, the first semi-final is to be played between South Africa and Afghanistan. And South Africa is so far unbeaten in this tournament. They've played 7 matches and they have not lost any of the games, and we saw that they were lucky in some of the matches, but overall they have been outstanding, and especially their fielding, their batting and their captaincy has been outstanding. And the reason why they have won their matches is because they have assessed the conditions so well, and they are one of the teams that has to play their matches in the USA first, then they had to come back to West Indies. So it was difficult for them to adapt to different conditions, but they have done it so well. Like I said, they've won all of their 7 matches. If we look at their road to the semi-finals, they won their first game against Sri Lanka in the Super 20. They won that game by 7 wickets. Outstanding game of cricket. Then the second game in Super 20 round, they beat Netherlands by 4 wickets. This was a very close game, and we saw that the senior team, South Africa, had more control over their nerves, because of which they could win this game. In the next game, in the Super 20s, they beat Bangladesh. This game was also very close. And in the Super 20, all of the games that South Africa played were going to the wire, because these games were being played on grounds where all of these grounds were very low scoring grounds, and it was a struggle for South Africa. But like I said, they adapted to the condition extremely well, because of which they could win these games. And we know that it was difficult for Pakistan to adapt to the USA conditions, because of which we lost to USA, we lost to India. But the teams like South Africa, they have a very good staff which reads the conditions so well, and whenever they won the toss, they took the right decisions. And in terms of fielding also, which was critical when it's a low scoring game, outstanding. I mean, their captain Makram has been exceptional in the entire World Cup, and we hope that this World Cup is a different World Cup for South Africa, where generally they are a team which chokes in the big stage. But let's hope that it doesn't happen this time round, because we expect one of the teams which has not won the World Cup to win this World Cup. I mean, this is how we Pakistani think, because our team is out of the tournament, so we do not want India or Afghanistan to win. But I could be wrong. You guys can also give your favorite team on our WhatsApp number as to which team you support and which team you think should win the tournament. But South Africa is one of the teams which deserves to be in the finals, and and win the semi-finals. We'll further build up to the semi-final game because this is the first semi-final that will be played tomorrow morning, and South Africa will be up against outstanding team Afghanistan. So this game is something that we are all looking forward to. And now when we look at the Super 8 performances from South Africa, they were again outstanding. They beat USA by 18 runs in the first game of the Super 8. Then they beat England by 7 runs, which was a good game for South Africa to win. And the last game that they had to play in the Super 8 was against West Indies, where they win by 3 wickets. So South Africa is unbeaten and they are the team to beat in this tournament. But let's see how they perform against the spin heavy team of Afghanistan. We'll talk about South Africa's run further, and we'll also have a look at the top players in this league in terms of bowling and in terms of batting. I was just looking at the top performers for South Africa, and their batters, Quinton de Kock is on top with 199 runs, and David Miller, their middle order outstanding batsman, he's on second position with 148 runs. And Henrik Klaasen, we all know what he can do, and let's hope that all of these 3 players fire in the last 2 games that they have to play. Obviously they'll go in the finals only when they win the semi-finals against Afghanistan. So Klaasen has scored 138 runs, and the best bowlers for South Africa are Nokia with 11 wickets, and Kagiso Rabada with 10 wickets, and Keshav Maharaj with 9 wickets. We have also seen that Shamsi has also been very good for South Africa. But trust me, the reason why they have won their games is also because of their great fielding, especially their captain Markram has been so good in the field, and also the right decisions at the right times, and studying the conditions well is what goes with South Africa. And they have won all of their 7 games, most of which were very close games, but they won the critical moments in the games, because of which they could win all of the games. So South Africa is the team to beat because they've won all of their games so far. Now we look at the team that has to play against South Africa, which is Afghanistan, and it's outstanding to see the scenes that we have seen from Afghanistan, and the entire nation is celebrating the win, and the way their captain Rashid Khan interacted with their country's people was outstanding to see, and outstanding scenes. And it's always good to have a new team, a minnow team. Rather, they are not a minnow team because they have been beating the teams like South Africa, Pakistan, and now they've beaten Australia as well in an ICC tournament, which is outstanding. So the scenes from Afghanistan are outstanding, and let's hope that they do well in the semi-final as well. But their road to the semi-final was not that easy because they've lost 2 games, and they lost 1 game in the Super 20 round. They lost 1 game, first game in the Super 8. They lost to India, but still they managed to qualify for the semi-finals because they won their next 2 games in the Super 8, which is also outstanding. I'm sure they would have been under a lot of pressure, and the game against Bangladesh was a very close one, and the way their bowlers turned up and the fielding was outstanding. Naveenul Haq, Rashid Khan, you name it, all of these players have contributed, and they've clearly shown that it's a team game, and if you play as a team, you can beat a big side like Australia as well. So when we look at their Super 20 performances, they won their first game against New Zealand, and this was a win by 84 runs, and we can say that this game completely shattered New Zealand's chances to qualify for the next round, and we saw that they could not qualify for the next round, and then they beat Uganda by 125 runs. Obviously, the Uganda was a small team, but the margin of win was outstanding for Afghanistan, whereby they could help their net run rate as well. And the game against Papua New Guinea was also great. They won the game by 7 wickets. And like I said, in Super 20, they lost 1 game. They lost the game against West Indies, and it was a big loss. They lost by 104 runs. And but West Indies right now is out of the tournament. But they beat Afghanistan in the Super 20, but Afghanistan managed to qualify for the next round. And when they came in the Super 8s, they lost their first game to India by 47 runs. One thing that all the people will be expecting Afghanistan to do is whenever they encounter against India, they should play a normal game of cricket, and it should not be a middle class performance, because it has to be a strong game that they are expected to play against every team from now on. And then they came back, they won the game against Australia. Outstanding result for them. They won it by 21 runs, and the last game that was played yesterday against Bangladesh, they won it by 8 runs. So all in all, they won 5 games, they lost 2 games, and they are in the semi-finals. Your and my captain Babar Azam is back to the country. Your messages about him are welcome as to how he should address the media and what he should address with PCB, but a lot to look forward to as to what happens in white ball's captaincy. And we already know that Shan Masood is our red ball captain, who's preparing for the next series against Bangladesh. But coming back to the road of these semi-finalist teams in ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024, we already spoke about South Africa. We are now looking at Afghanistan's performances. They won 5 games out of the 7 that they have played so far. They lost to West Indies and to India, 1 game each in Super 20 and Super 8, but they are in the semi-final, and they will be playing against mighty South Africa. But when we look at the individual performance from Afghanistan, we have Faisal Farooqi, their bowler, with 16 wickets so far in the tournament, and he was exceptional in the beginning. He is struggling a little. We saw that he just bowled 2 overs in the game against Bangladesh, but I'm sure as per the conditions, he will have a comeback. He's a left arm quick, and he's been doing well for Afghanistan. Rashid Khan is also outstanding in this tournament. He is the captain for Afghanistan, and we saw that his 19 of just 10 balls was superb in the last game against Bangladesh. So he's good with the bat as well. He took 14 wickets so far in the tournament, and last 4 wickets came in the game against Bangladesh. And Naveenul Haq, who's been outstanding in the last 2 games against Australia and Bangladesh. Actually, the reason why they've won last 2 games is Naveenul Haq. In the last game, he was man of the match with his 4 wickets, and he took the last wicket of Bangladesh as well. He is there in the list with 13 wickets, and he holds the third best position for Afghanistan in terms of wickets taken. And in terms of batting, we've seen their opener, Rahmanullah Gurbaz, who's scored 281 runs, and he's probably the top scorer in the tournament so far, and he's outstanding. He's a wicket keeper also. And the second opener, Ibrahim Zadran, is also on 229 runs. So all in all, good performances, good individual and collective performances for Afghanistan, due to which they are in the semi-finals right now. And we'll have to see as to how they perform against South Africa, because this could be a clash of the titans. Because when you look at the conditions so far, these are kind of spin friendly tracks where Afghanistan is most likely to win. We'll also have a look at where they are playing the semi-finals, so that we can analyze as to which team will be the favorite to win the semi-finals. We'll also have a look at the remaining semi-finals teams as to how they qualified for the semi-finals. So we are discussing the 4 teams that have qualified for the next round, or rather the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup 2024. It's South Africa that have to play Afghanistan in the first semi-final, which will be played tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. and the next semi-final is also to be played tomorrow between India and mighty England. Alright, so coming back to the road of these teams for qualifying for the semi-finals, we have gone through how South Africa won all of their 7 games and Afghanistan winning 5 out of 7 games to qualify for the semi-finals. And now we'll have a look at how England have qualified for the semi-finals. We saw that it was a struggling start for England in the beginning. They lost to Australia. They had a tough game against Scotland, which was washed out. So England played 7 games. They have won only 4 games, but they are in the semi-finals. They've been one of the luckiest teams in this tournament. They've lost 2 games. One they lost to Australia, and they lost 1 game in the Super 8 as well. And their net run rate had also been very good because of the small teams that they could play against. And there is one game which had no result against Scotland. And in the Super 20s, their first game was washed out against Scotland. The game was tied. In the second game against Australia, they lost the game by 36 runs. And in the next game against Oman, they won it by 8 wickets. And in the game against Namibia, they won the game by 41 runs. So it was to their help that they had to play these associate teams, whereby they could help their net run rate and they could qualify for the next round. They had the same points as Scotland in the Super 20, but they qualified because of the net run rate, so they were very lucky. In the Super 8 also, they won the game against West Indies by 8 wickets, but they lost to South Africa by 7 runs. It was a very close game, but they lost against South Africa, and we saw that their batting struggled very badly in that game. But again, they had the chance to cover it up with the game against USA, where they won by 10 wickets, and Joss Butler scored 83 in that game, which was an outstanding game of cricket. But again, they were very lucky. Again, they got a team like USA where they could win the game and help their net run rate. So this is how England have qualified. It's been a roller coaster ride for England in this T20 World Cup, but they have to play against mighty India team, which is unbeaten in this tournament. They have won all of their 7 games so far, and this has been, in fact, they won 6 games, and one of the games was a washout game which had no result. So they've won all of their games, but they have played 6 games. One was washed out, so all of the 6 games have been won by India, and their journey was also not that easy. They played close games against USA, against Pakistan. We'll see as to how they reach the semi-finals, and we'll also have a look at the first game that is to be played between South Africa and Afghanistan. We'll see as to what conditions are going to be there. Alright, so the first semi-final is to be played at Brian Lara Cricket Academy at Trinidad, and this game is going to be between South Africa and Afghanistan. And if we look at the conditions of the ground, there on this ground 4 matches have been played and 3 matches have been won by the team batting second. So the way to go is to win the toss and bat second and make the other team bat first, because batting first, only one game has been won by the team. If we look at the scores, batting first on this ground, West Indies scored 149 and they were able to defend it. Then Papua New Guinea scored 95 runs on this ground, so it's not an easy ground to bat on. Then Uganda scored only 40 and they got out against New Zealand. And Papua New Guinea again, they scored just 78 against New Zealand. So it's a tough wicket to bat on, and these are the conditions that are going to be in favor of Afghanistan, because we have seen that if they could score 140, 135, they are able to beat bigger teams. They've done it against Australia, they've done it against Bangladesh. So I think this ground is going to be very tough for South Africa, and we know that South Africa, when they are winning all the games, they choke in the big game in this kind of tournaments. But we expect them to do well this time around, because they've won good games, and their batting, bowling, fielding, all the departments are up to the mark so far in the tournament. So we expect this game to be a nail-biter one, and let's hope that they give tough time to Afghanistan, and we as fans expect this game to be a very good game of cricket, so that we can talk about it in our tomorrow's show in detail. Coming back to how India won their 6 games in the Super 20, they won their first game against Ireland by 6 wickets, and the second game was against Pakistan. We saw how Pakistan lost this game when Pakistan was favourite to win the game throughout, I would say, 34 overs of the game, first 34 overs of the game. Our bowlers did so well, but our batting could not match up to the bowling performance that we had in that game. So Pakistan lost that game by 6 runs and India won it. Third game they had was against USA. This also was a close game, but they won it by 7 wickets eventually due to the great batting performance from Surya Kumar Yadav. And in the Super 8, they were unplayable. I mean, they won the game against Afghanistan by 47 runs. Then they won against Bangladesh by 47 runs. So if you look at India's performances, they have improved with time. And as soon as they've moved to West Indies, their performances have come even bigger, because these wickets are supporting Indian spinners, and even their pacers are kind of unplayable. I mean, It's not easy to score against Jasprit Bumrah. Kuldeep Yadav as a spinner is also outstanding. Then Akshar Patel has also come to party in the last game against Australia, and all of these three bowlers have looked kind of unplayable. So any team against India is going to find it difficult to win the games. They have to play against England in the next game, which is the semi-final, and this will also be played tomorrow, and this game will be played at 7:30 p.m. Pakistan time. We'll talk about this game in detail tomorrow as well, because this game will be played after our tomorrow's show. But right now I'll move our focus towards what is happening in Pakistan, because our team has lost the T20. They are already out of the T20 World Cup. The team has started to come back. Our captain has also come back. But I was looking at some of the performances in the national T20 Cup that was played in 2023. If we look at this cup as to how these players, Pakistani players, have performed who have not been selected for the T20 World Cup, in terms of bowling, we had Shahab Khan, who is the medium pacer. He took 25 wickets in the tournament. Then Arif Yaqub, the spinner, who is most talked about, and people say that in the shorter format we should have him in the team. Leg spinner, he took 21 wickets. Then Mohammad Imran, he's also a medium fast bowler. He took 20 wickets. Nisar Ahmed, another medium pacer, took 17 wickets, and Mohammad Amir Khan, he took 16 wickets. So good performances from the bowlers in the National T20 Cup, one of the tournaments that we play locally for T20 selections, but we know that most of the selection happens on the performance of the PSL. But we'll also have a look at the batters who have done well in National T20 Cup. We were having a look at the top performers from National T20 Cup 2023. Why we need to look at it is because we have good players in the ranks who could replace the existing team. Especially we are lacking to have good spinners. We saw that Arif Yaqub took 21 wickets as a leg spinner. We saw that some of the left arm spinners in under 19 team were outstanding. We have heard about Faisal Akram, who's been an outstanding left arm spinner. He played in the PSL as well. But when we look at the top batters, we have Saabzada Farhan, who scored the most runs with 492 runs, and Kamran Ghulam is not far away with 451 runs. Sajjad Ali is 441 runs, and Omer Yusuf with 401 runs, and Yasir Khan with 350 runs. So with batting also we have some good performers, and we want to see some good players in the middle order very soon, and we need to have good spinners in the team so that Pakistan's pride is back and our team starts to perform against the good teams, and especially in big tournaments like ICC, where there's a lot on stake. We have to play 2025 Champions Trophy in Pakistan, where again a lot is on stake for us to do well in our home conditions, and we are looking forward to the semi-final that will be played tomorrow between South Africa and Afghanistan. We've already gone through that. This game will be played at Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad, and this is a low scoring ground where team batting second are in good position because they win most of the games on this ground. So we'll have to wait and see as to which teams wins the toss and which team does well in this game, because this is a big one, the semi-final of this year's T20 World Cup, and all eyes are on Afghanistan and South Africa. Afghanistan team has already given so much to their fans, and we hope, and they've already started celebrating. I mean, they've already started singing champions songs, and they deserve it because the way they've played, they've beaten Australia, they've beaten New Zealand, they've beaten all the big teams in this tournament so far. So good luck to both the teams, and we'll talk about this game in detail tomorrow, and we'll build up to the game between India and England in our tomorrow's show. Until then, I'll say goodbye.